Hi. I don't have lots to share with you about your discussion thread on Charlemagne. You did just a great job. You understood kind of his who he was, the intrigue that was connected to him, how he kind of tried to hold together these conquering lands and cultures through the use of faith, how Christianity was a way to do that. It was a little bit different than, I don't want you to get the idea that even though he was called the Holy Roman Empire, it was the Holy Roman Empire in a sense. They talked about it that way. It wasn't as organized as the Holy Roman Empire or the Roman Empire was. Basically, it was all these tribes, which earlier were referred to kind of as barbarian tribes, these invading tribes that came in, and they kind of set up territory, claimed land, and Charlemagne would conquer that and kind of unite and kind of, take over the land, but he would allow them their tribal practices and sometimes to maintain their own law even. So, things that they were already doing. So it was very loosely knit together. And that's why religion became so important, because Christianity was a way to unite these various tribes. Even though they might have different cultures or different law or whatever within their boundaries, their geographical boundaries, religion was a way to unite them. I'm going to stretch here a little bit and say, if you think about the early founding of our country, the federal government was supposed to be very small and loose, and its job was basically to kind of hold the states together. So, the states were where the power resided, according to our founding fathers, because they wanted all the power closer to the people. And they didn't want, government, a big federal government that would not be in touch with the local people. And so in the founding fathers, the federal government was just a way to kind of knit these communities together. And it had obviously its role, to play. But it was kind of that concept, in a sense, if you think about it, that Charlemagne wanted to allow these cultures to continue. He didn't want them to change for him or for the structure of the empire. But yet religion was a way to find some unity there. So that's what Christianity provides. And that's why you're going to see later in this module how these the missionaries to these tribes are so important, because converting these tribes to Christianity is the link that will help hold this empire together. Now, and you talked about the intrigue of Charlemagne. Certainly anywhere you have power, whether it's, our government in the United States, governments in other countries, you're going to have intrigue. And that's kind of part of it. We're always thinking, what secrets are out there, who's doing what, kind of thing. And some of you mentioned Putin in Russia, some of you mentioned the Pakistani candidate that was assassinated. A number of you mentioned JFK, other things in our government. So I think it's, we can say that this kind of intrigue is around the world. The question is, I think, that we have to delineate here in the discussion that you're having is secrecy in order to hide things from people that they should know about, versus secrecy to keep things from the people who are trying to harm the country. Those are two different things. So I know we're talking a lot in our country about transparency, needing to know, and we certainly do. Transparency should always be first and foremost, and you should never withhold information from a people unless it's for their safety. And so I think there's the issue in the Charlemagne thing. That intrigue certainly wasn't about the people, and so often it's not. So often it is a power grab, and so we have to be careful with that. The only other thing I want to mention before I close out here is the assignment that you did on the last module on Liturgy of the Hours. Reading your journals and work on Liturgy of the Hours, I realized that you might not quite still understand it. And so I want to clarify one more time, or at least try to be a little clearer. The website that you went to that had, the times of the day to pray with the angels, That focused on when the monks prayed, the time of the day, not what they prayed. That you were not doing Liturgy of the Hours. I was trying to get you to understand what it would be like to have to, to actually stop and pray at these times of the day, and could we do it? But the other link on that page was to a website that actually showed you the prayer, the Liturgy of the Hours. Liturgy hours is not just sitting and meditating or praying to yourself at these specific times. Liturgy of the Hours, liturgy, the word, stands for work of the people. So it is a community prayer. So a community gathers to do Liturgy of the Hours. Or even if you pray the liturgy by yourself, you're still in union with the people who are praying it all over the world. That makes sense. So if you don't remember that website, I just wanted to show you again. This is a book called Christian Prayer, and what's in it is Liturgy of the Hours. You can see how thick that is. And in fact, this isn't all of the times of the day. This has morning, noon, evening, and night in it. So there are a few that are missing in there. But I wanted to kind of give you an idea, just to remind you here. I'm going to go to February 2nd, which was the feast of the presentation of the Lord in the Catholic Church. But I want to kind of give you an idea of what this prayer looks like. Maybe I'm hoping you can see it. Okay. It's kind of hard here. But you can see here, here's the presentation of the Lord. Here's the intro, Psalm 113. And then there are 3 more pages. There's another psalm. There is readings from Hebrews. There you can see the readings from the Hebrews. There's a response. There's the Canticle of Mary. There are intercessions over here. Whoops, I'm on morning prayer. There's intercessions, and there's the closing prayer. So this is a set way. Certain psalms are said, certain prayers are said. And so I wanted you to realize that that is what happens at those times of the day. So it's not just sitting and maybe meditating a little bit or pray or saying a quiet prayer to yourself. There is actual form. There is a liturgy, the work of the people that we say together. So when we talk about the monks, that's what we're talking about. That they would actually, at all those times of the day that you were practicing at that angel website, would actually say this. So I wanted you to put the two together, but my explanation must have not been real clear. So, next time I do this, I think I'm going to do an intro video so that people understand. Thought I had all the connections. But hopefully that makes more sense now. You're in the feudalism discussion thread now, and you certainly see that going to be tied to the fall. Charlemagne's empire starts to fall apart, and the church is definitely affected by feudalism, and you're making great connections in that thread too. But I'm not going to say much more because I think Holly may want to come in on that one too. Okay? Keep it up. You're doing wonderful. We are halfway through this course already, so I'm just so impressed with the connections you make, and you understand, and you read, and you can see all of this and put it together. You are excellent. Keep it up. God bless.